Hey there, this is LaQuita with QuitaBugHandmades.com, and thank you so much for joining me today for another Stampin' Up! Saturday tutorial. For today's project, I am going to be featuring the Sweet Cupcake stamp set. This is such a fun stamp set, and this is actually a three-step stamp set, so that means you can really layer images together to make some beautiful 3D effects. So I love this stamp set, and I'm also going to use the coordinating cupcake cutouts framelits. So both of these items are available in my online Stampin' Up! Store, and I have direct links to these items just below the video in the description notes, so you can click right down there for a full list of supplies. Okay, so today's project comes from page 83 of the 2017-18 annual catalog by Stampin' Up! So today's card is going to be this one. I absolutely love this card, and as I was flipping through the catalog trying to find a project for today's video, this Tranquil Tide and Berry Burst really stood out to me. So I thought this would be a really fun one for us to make today. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in my Stampin' Up! Piercing mat. The images from the stamp set just seem to work better having that little cushion behind them, so I'm going to use that. And then I've just got some scratch paper here. This is computer paper because we're going to do a little bit of stamping off. Alright, so I've got a scrap piece of Whisper White here, and I'm going to bring in my Fresh Fig ink pad. I've got my Berry Burst ink pad. And then I'm also going to bring in my powder pink. All right, so I'm going to start first with my cupcake liner. So I've got the 3 images for that here, and I'm going to start by stamping the most solid image in my powder pink. This is a very hard color to see. I'm just stamping off one time, and I'm going to stamp that down. And you can see it's very light. Now I'm going to stamp the second most solid image, stamp off, and I'm going to try my absolute best to line these images up, and hopefully I do not get my head in the camera. That's the one thing about this project with these colors, the powder pink is so difficult to see. I hope I got it. Okay, that's a little bit off, but I might be able to salvage that with this third layer. So I'm not going to stamp this layer off. Just going to stamp right on top. Okay, that doesn't look so bad. I'm going to keep that. So now I'm just going to rotate this around so that I can do my cupcake. So I've got my 3 images here for the cupcake. So I'm going to start with the most solid image, and I'm going to ink that up in my Berry Burst, stamp it off once, and then stamp it down. Then I'm going to go to the second most solid image, ink it up, and we're going to stamp this one full strength. So again, trying my best to hopefully line this up. Let's see how close I got that. Not bad. It's a little off, but it's not too bad. And then now the most detailed part of that cupcake, I'm going to stamp that in Fresh Fig. Okay, there we go. So now I've got a piece of Whisper White cardstock. This is cut 2 3/4 inches by 3.5 inches, and I am going to stamp the sentiment, which is "You're the icing on my cupcake," towards the bottom in the center, and I'm using Fresh Fig for that. So now I've got my card base. This is a piece of Tranquil Tide cardstock. This is cut at 8.5 inches by 5.5, and I have scored it at 4 1/4 inches. So what I'm going to do is take my scratch paper and line it up with the score line for the fold of the card right there. Then I'm going to bring in my Tranquil Tide ink pad. We're going to do a little bit of background stamping. So I'm going to be stamping using this candle image here, the outline piece. All right, so I'm just going to make my own background. No right or wrong way to do this. Just start stamping. So I've got one there on the fold. So So now I'm going to put my paper behind because I'm going to stamp off the edge sometimes. Okay, so just a few more of these candles. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. All right, so we can start putting our card together. I already went ahead and ran these two pieces through the Big Shot and die cut them using those framelits. So now what I want to do is I'm gonna bring in some of our solid Whisper White Baker's Twine, and I'm just going to take a little bit off of here. So this was actually the hardest part of making this card for me, was getting this twine on here, how they did in the picture. So I'm just going to add a little bit of Fast Fuse right here, and then what I'm going to do is take that length of Whisper White Baker's Twine, and I'm just going to stick one end in the adhesive, and then I'm just going to allow the twine to kind of curl up however it wants. So I'm just letting it lay down how it chooses, okay? You can see it just starts to make its own little loops. Okay, there we go. So there's my little loops. So now I'll just add some dimensionals behind my cupcake pieces. So I'll start adding these pieces on. So let's see. Make sure I get them centered up. Okay, this one here. All right, that looks good. Then I'll just flip this piece over and add dimensionals on here too. Okay, so now I'll just add this layer onto the front of the card, right about here. Looks good. Give it a press. And then for the last step, I'm going to take some of these Eastern Palace gold vinyl stickers. You actually get, these come in a package of 4, so you get 2 sheets of each of the different designs. So I'm going to take these stickers, and I want these 3 little flower ones here. I'm going to add those on. So let's see, I'll do one over there. I want to get one kind of tucked under there just a little bit, like that. And then one more up here. Do one right about there. Okay, I think that looks good. All right, and then that finishes up this card. What do you guys think? I really love this card, and I love just that little touch of gold with the vinyl stickers. I love that. And then of course this card would not be complete without a matching envelope, so I went ahead and stamped that same cupcake image there on the bottom left-hand corner of the envelope, and then I added some of our Color Theory Designer Series paper. This is the Berry Burst pattern. I added some of that to the envelope flap, and I love how this card turned out. This was a really fun one to recreate from the catalog. All right, so let me just bring in the original sample, and there we go. So I hope that you guys enjoyed today's tutorial and that you feel inspired from the annual catalog. So again, remember, if you'd like to find the measurements and the full supply list for today's project, you can head on over to my coordinating blog post. The link is just below the video in the description notes. I've got everything listed out over there for you so that you can recreate this card as well. So thanks again, and I'll be back soon with another tutorial. Bye now.